Welcome to the Wind Up with Will, everyone. I'm your host, Will, here with another episode. And today we're going to be talking about the FIFA World Cup. The United States of America is hosting the World Cup, really co hosting because Canada and Mexico are also co hosts. Some of the games will be in Canada and Mexico, but majority of them will be here in the States. And it starts tomorrow. The first game is in Mexico. I believe it's Mexico versus who is in their group. Feel like it's them versus South Africa, I think. It's either them versus South Africa or them versus Czechia. I'm not sure which game it is, but I know Mexico plays tomorrow. But in front of me, I've done some extensive research. I have my group stage picks and I have my knockout stage picks. I'm going to be making my predictions today for the 2026 FIFA Men's World Cup that's taking place here in the United States. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, and when I get done, I'll show you what my pulls look like, and then I'll go through the bracket real quick. So in Group A, I'm just going to go through them in order of where I have the teams ranked. Um, and I guess I should go over the format of this. This is the first ever World Cup in which 48 teams are competing. 32 of them will advance out of the group stage to the round of 32, which is the first time they've ever had a round of 32. Then there will be a round of 16. There'll be the quarterfinals, the semifinals, and then the World Cup final, which is being hosted in East Rutherford, New Jersey, at MetLife Stadium, where the Giants and Jets of the NFL play. I'm sorry, I have the hiccups. I've been excited. I just watched the Knicks win, had an awesome win in the finals tonight. So I'm a little giddy at that. But I'm going to go into the picks. So, well, I guess I should say a little bit more about the format. So, the top 32 teams out of group play will advance. There's 12 groups of four because there's 48 teams. The 12 group winners, as well as the second place finishers, the runners up in each group will advance. So, that's 24 teams. And then the eight best third place teams will also advance. That's going to be determined by tiebreakers like goal differential and whatnot. Actually, I think it's goals scored. The tiebreakers are a little different when it's the best third place teams, as opposed to where you finish in your group. So the tiebreakers are a little different there. It's a little confusing. I wish it was a little different. I had to do some extensive research to try and figure out what teams would advance, but I've got it figured out here. I've got the correct answers of what teams will be advancing. So, getting it started in Group A, I have Mexico winning this group as I think they're the best team in it. They're getting to have all of their games in group play in Mexico. So, they're going to have a massive home field advantage. And I think they've got a good team. They're ranked in the top 20, I believe. I think they're ranked like 15th best, 14th or 15th best team according to FIFA. They're a really solid team. And being a co-host, I think it gives them an advantage. I think they win the group. Coming in second, I have South Korea. South Korea has been a slowly growing soccer power. I think they've got a good team. I think they're going to be competitive. They've continuously improved over the last few decades to become somewhat of a soccer nation, and I think they're better than the other two teams in the group. And then we have in third place I have Czechia, and then in fourth place I have South Africa. South Africa is the only country I don't have advancing out of this group. I think they're the weakest team by far. South Africa is known for a different kind of football. They're known for rugby. That is their football that they care about. So as a result of that, I think they're the weakest team in here, and I think they're going to get taken advantage of by the other three teams who are going to score some goals on them to try and advance uh, if they happen to fall and be that third place team. In Group B, I have Canada winning this group. And this is a surprise from what I watched of most people's predictions. Most people didn't have Canada winning this group, but I think them, and you might see a pattern here. The fact that they are getting to co-host this and getting to have games in Canada, I think is going to give them an advantage in this. And they've got a great head coach. I love Jesse Marsh. Jesse Marsh is their coach. I loved him when he was the head coach of the New York Red Bulls. He's a great coach, and they've got some talent in Canada on the soccer field. They're growing as a soccer nation. They've gotten better. They've beaten the U.S. several times here recently. I think they're a good team. I think they're going to shock the world and win their group. Coming in second, I have Switzerland. Switzerland is kind of one of those solid teams out of Europe that you never really think of as a threat because they're overshadowed by the bigger names like England and France and Germany. But they're a good soccer nation. They have a good team, but I think they're going to come up just short against Canada, and that's what gives Canada the edge. Switzerland finishes in second. Bosnia and Herzegovina, I have them finishing in third and advancing as well. Um, I don't know a ton about them, but I know they are going to be better than the fourth place team in this group, and that is Qatar. Qatar only making their second ever World Cup appearance. They were the host nation in the last World Cup and failed to win a game in their group stage. I think it's going to be the case here again. They're probably the weakest team in the field, would be my guess. I think they're going to get routed pretty badly, and that's partly why I have Bosnia and Herzegovina advancing, because I think they're going to score several goals in that game. That's going to help them be one of the better third place teams, or at least based off of the tiebreaker, not necessarily on how good of a team they are. So sorry, Qatar. I would love to see you get a win, get your first World Cup win, or advance, but I just don't think it's going to happen now. I think you're going to need a few more years to become better. Moving on to Group C, I have Brazil winning this group. This is a Brazil team that I think is ranked seventh in the FIFA World Cup rankings, or the FIFA rankings. So it's not one of the best or top tier Brazil teams, but they're still really solid. They've got a ton of talent, and I think they're better than the other teams in their group, so I have them winning the group. In second, I have Morocco, who in the last World Cup made a run to the semifinals. So, and they were the first ever African team to ever make it to the semifinals. So, I think they're going to be good again, and I think they're going to be the second best team in this group. So I have them in the second. Third, I have Scotland. Scotland, I think, has a passionate fan base, and I almost said something else. They have a very passionate fan base. I think, and here recently, I think they've had some good wins with their national team. I think they're better than people think. I could possibly see them beating Morocco or tying Morocco. I think that it's a higher probability than people out there are saying, and I think I think they're better than the fourth place team Haiti, and they're going to score some goals, and I think that's going to be enough for them to advance, because I think they're going to beat Haiti and beat them pretty well. So I think that's going to get them to advance as a third place team. Haiti, I don't have advancing. Sorry, you finished fourth. In Group D, I've heard some people say that this is perhaps the most balanced group there is, and I would maybe agree with that. I think there's another group that's possibly comparable, but this is USA's group. I have USA winning this group. I think there's a possibility they finish second. I don't see that. It'd be disaster if they finish third. I have them winning this group. I think they're the better team with star players like Christian Pulisic and Weston McKennie, Tyler Adams. They're a really good team. I I think they're going to win this group. They're a good team. I said they're a really good team. I'm just excited for them. I'm excited to watch Team USA. They are a good team. They're ranked, I think, around 13th. I think in the FIFA rankings, and having home field advantage, I think they're going to win. And I think the nation is going to rally behind them, and we're going to perhaps maybe we see a run. Maybe we see a run in the World Cup. That would be awesome to see. I think they're going to win Group D. In second, I have Turkey. I heard some people pronouncing it Turkia, so I don't know if that's the actual pronunciation. My whole life, it's always been Turkey. So I apologize if saying Turkey is incorrect, but that is what I've known my entire life, that pronunciation to be. Especially since here in the States we have an animal called a turkey that's spelled the same way. So in third, I have Australia. I could see Australia maybe making a run. I really weighed on picking them to advance. A lot of people picked them to finish fourth in this group. I think they finished third, but just miss out. And in fourth, I have Paraguay. I know that's kind of controversial because people think Paraguay is better than Australia, and they probably are. But I think people are overlooking Australia. I think Australia is going to be fired up to win this, and um, especially after how their women's team played in the last World Cup, they actually did pretty well. So I think they're going to be fired up. I think they're a better soccer nation than people give them credit for, and I think they steal a win over Paraguay. But I don't think it's going to be enough because I think the USA and Turkey are both better than Australia, and I think both of them will probably beat Australia. Moving on to Group E, I have Germany winning this group. I think they're one of the more talented teams here. They're a younger team. There's a lot of I think there's people sleeping on them and how good they are. But I think they're the best team in this group. They win Group E. In second, I have Ecuador. Solid team out of South America. I think they're going to come in second. Third, I have Ivory Coast. I have them also advancing. And fourth, I have Curacao. Curacao is I believe they're the smallest nation to ever compete in the World Cup. They're a tiny island nation in the Caribbean. I don't see them advancing. I'm sorry, Curacao. I believe this is their World Cup debut. I believe. So good luck to them. Hopefully, it'd be awesome if they won a game. It'd be awesome if they advanced. I don't see it happening now. Sorry. In Group F, I have the Netherlands winning this group. I think they're a really good team. They could be a dark horse team to make a run to the semifinals. In second, I have Japan winning, or Japan in second. I think Japan is a solid team. I think they're going to be pretty good, but I don't think they're better than the Netherlands. The Netherlands is a little more battle tested against those European sides. And in third, I have Sweden. Sweden's a solid team, but they don't quite have the talent as like Netherlands or Japan. And in fourth, I have Tunisia, which is also a solid team. This is the other group that I think is very balanced, where just like Group D with USA, Turkey, Australia, and Paraguay, it feels like any one of these teams could steal a game or win a game in the group. All of them are solid teams. None of them are just like bad. And I'm actually going to travel in a couple weeks and see Netherlands play Tunisia in Kansas City. I wanted to go to a World Cup game. It worked out where I'm going to get to go to a game. I'm excited for that matchup. Hopefully, it'll be a good game. Moving on to Group G, I have Belgium winning this group. I think they're a solid team. They faced the USA back in March, and I believe the final score was like 5-1. The game kind of got out of hand. But Belgium is a really solid team. I think they're pretty good, and I think they're of the teams in their group. They're by far the best team. And second, I have Egypt. Egypt has got a solid team. They're okay. Mo Salah, as he goes by, I think his actual name is Mohamed Salah, striker for Liverpool. He is a star player for Egypt. I heard some people say this is probably his last World Cup appearance. Um, I think they're going to be better than the two other teams in the group, which is New Zealand and Iran. Iran, very interesting, them being in the World Cup, considering that the relations between their nation and the USA at the moment. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions over that and a lot of strong emotions with them. Um, New Zealand, not really known for soccer as much, but who knows? Maybe they advance. Maybe Iran advances, but I just don't see them getting past Belgium or Egypt. I think those are by far the two better teams in the group. Um, Moving on to Group H, I have Spain winning that group. I think they're a very talented team. I believe in the FIFA World Rankings, they're like a top three team. They're very good, and they're going to be wanting to win the World Cup after their women won the Women's World Cup recently. So they're going to look to try and win the men's and women's back to back. And second, I have Uruguay. They're a really solid South American side. They're really good. I think they'll advance. And third, I don't have them advancing as Cape Verde. I believe that's how you pronounce it. And then in fourth, Saudi Arabia. I just don't think those two teams, are good enough to advance. So I don't have them advancing. In Group I have France winning the group. One of the most talented teams, if not the most talented team in the World Cup. They're going to win their group. They're going to win their group. You can mark it down however you want. They're winning the group. And second, I have Norway, very talented team. Erling Haaland, Erling Holland, I'm sorry, that's how you pronounce his name. Phenomenal, phenomenal goal scorer for them is going to be on Norway. And that Norway's got, and they've got a few other players too. They're going to be talented. They're going to, they could be a team like the Netherlands. Maybe they're a dark horse, a team that people overlook, that they can maybe go on a run. And third, I have Senegal. Senegal is always a solid team, and and I have them advancing as well. And in fourth, I have Iraq. I just don't see Iraq competing with the other three teams. In Group J, I have Argentina winning the group. Lionel Messi, probably his final World Cup. Um, Trying to go back to back, win back to back World Cups. I have them winning Group J. I have Austria finishing second. I have them. I know some people don't see them as being a second place team. I have them in second. Third, I have Algeria. I think Algeria is a good side. And fourth, I have Jordan. Jordan's just the weakest team out of those. On to Group K, I have Portugal winning the group. Cristiano Ronaldo is going to try and win a World Cup and tie Lionel Messi. This is probably his final World Cup. Portugal is going to be very talented. They are going to win the group. And second, I have Colombia. Another really good South American side, and they have some Premier League talent on this team. So that is what is going to be good for them. They're going to they just have some really good talent. They're going to finish second in the group. And in third, I have the Dominican Republic of the Congo, and then in fourth, Uzbekistan. Neither of those teams I have advancing. Group L, I have England winning this group. England is very talented. They've come oh so close the last couple World Cups. Like they can just taste it. They lost in the Euro finals. This team is so close to winning major tournaments. Is this going to be the tournament where they finally win for the first time? It feels like whatever. Their first time in however long. It, there is pressure on them, but they have the talent with Harry Kane and so many other players where they could go on a run. They could be a World Cup team or World Cup winning team. They are one of the top teams in this tournament. I have them winning the group. I think they're by far the best team in the group. I have Croatia finishing second. They've still got some solid players, and after making the World Cup final 2 World Cups ago, I still think they're a solid team. They have some older players. I don't think they're quite able. I don't think they're going to quite go on a run like that again. You never know; they could. So I have them in second. Third, I have Ghana. Ghana is always a solid team in the World Cup. They always find a way into the group stage. So I have them in third and advancing. And then fourth, I have Panama. Panama is always a solid team in CONCACAF, in the CONCACAF and playing the USA in the Gold Cup. I feel like they're always a solid side. But of those 4 teams, I think they're the weakest one. I think they're just the team that's going to lose. I think the other teams are a little more battle tested, perhaps in bigger tournaments like this. So I'm going to pick those other 3 teams to advance. Panama, I'm sorry, you're in fourth. So I'll just show you really briefly what that looks like. Sorry, I had to write some notes on there. The checks next to them is the teams I have advancing. The X is if they are eliminated. So moving on over to the knockout round here. Sorry, I'm going to get the camera to try and refocus. Moving on to the knockout stage. I guess I should put over them what they are, because I was so focused on getting the teams correct in each round that I forgot to label what each round was. I actually had to go to a simulator to get it correct, because how the bracket is listed for the third place teams is so confusing that I had to do a simulator to figure out who would be playing who based off the third place teams. The first and second place teams are easy just to slot into the bracket, but the third place teams, I had no idea how, because it just looked really weird on the bracket. But I have it here. So in the round of 32, we're just gonna read them off the end and move on because this video's gone on long enough. I have Germany beating Scotland in the round of 32. I have France beating Sweden. I have South Korea advancing over Switzerland. I have the Netherlands beating Morocco. I have Colombia beating Croatia. I have Spain beating Austria. I have the USA beating Bosnia and Herzegovina. I have Belgium beating the Czech Republic or Czechia, however that is preferred. I have Brazil beating Japan. I have Norway beating Ecuador. I have Mexico over the Ivory Coast. I have England over Senegal. Argentina over Uruguay. That would be an awesome. That's if that ends up being a matchup. That'd be an awesome matchup between two great South American nations. Then I have another rivalry right next to it, or not necessarily rivalry, but two teams in the same region. Turkey versus Egypt. I have Turkey advancing over Egypt. I think they're the better team there. And I'm sorry if I don't go into too much detail. This video's gone on long enough, so I'm not going to go into too much detail breaking down how these games would play out. When I get to the semifinals and final, I might make a little more commentary on them. Canada versus Algeria. I have Canada advancing to the round of 16, and then Portugal, Guyana, or Ghana. I'm sorry, Ghana. I have Portugal advancing there. So on to the round of 16 gives us some great matchups here in the round of 16. Germany versus France. I really weighed back and forth on this. This is the one I had to think about the most. I filled out the rest of my bracket pretty much, besides the final, because I didn't know who I had coming out of Germany France. That is a phenomenal matchup in the round of 16. A team that has been in two of the last World Cups and won one of them, and Germany, who is in the World Cup three World three World Cups ago back in 2014, but has failed to get out of the group stage of the last two times. I think Germany's got some young talent, and I think France having all of that talent and just being so far and above and away, such a great team. I think they're going to get upset, and I think Germany's going to beat them. I think that is going to be the upset of this tournament, perhaps. Um, Germany upsetting the Juggernauts, one of the betting odds favorites to win it in France. It's unfortunate these teams meet in the round of 16, but I have Germany upsetting France and advancing to the quarterfinals. South Korea versus the Netherlands. South Korea is a good team, but I think the Netherlands, who I'm going to get to see play, I think they are going to be a dark horse team. They're going to be a team that maybe they go on a run. I have them beating South Korea and advancing to the quarterfinals to face Germany. Moving on down, I have Colombia versus Spain. Colombia's got all this Premier League talent. Spain has all of this talent as well. Perhaps a golden generation for Spain. Spain, I have winning. I have them beating Colombia and advancing to the quarterfinals. USA, and then moving on, I've got USA versus Belgium, a rematch of a friendly back in March. And I have the USA pulling out the victory. I think having a home field advantage in the World Cup with the crowd behind them, I think the USA wins this game and advances to the quarterfinals. They shock the world and advance to the quarterfinals. Great win over Belgium. And they have a matchup with Spain in the quarters. On the other side of the bracket, I've got Brazil versus Norway. This is another great matchup. You've got the talent of South America versus the phenomenal striker in Erling Haaland. This would be a great matchup, but I have Brazil just edging out Norway to advance to the quarterfinals. Then I have Mexico versus England. I have England winning this one. I think in each of my each of the host nations here, I have them winning their groups and advancing in the first round. However, I have Mexico falling here in the round of 16 to England. I think England is one of the best teams here, so I have them beating Mexico to advance to face Brazil. Argentina versus Turkey. I think Argentina is just the far superior team. Talent wise, they have the greatest player of all time in Messi, who, depending on how they do their roster from game to game, he might be a super sub. He might be someone who comes off the bench just to score goals late in the game. I have Argentina advancing over Turkey to the quarterfinals. Then I have another great round of 16 matchup. Canada, this up and coming nation, this one of the hosts, taking on mighty Portugal and Cristiano Ronaldo. I think this will be a better game than people think. I think Portugal maybe edges them out like 2-1 and advances to the round of 16. Canada so close to just tasting World Cup glory and having a massive upset. I have Portugal advancing to the round of 16 to face Argentina. This would be a dream matchup for a lot of people. Argentina with Messi versus Ronaldo and Portugal. This would be an awesome matchup. So we'll go ahead and start with that one in the quarterfinals. This would be a great matchup. I have Argentina winning it over Portugal. I think this would be a really close match too, but I think Argentina's maybe got a little more talent, and having won the last World Cup, maybe a little more experience here. I have them advancing. Um, England versus Brazil. Another great matchup, but I have England advancing. I think they're one of the better teams. Harry Kane he really wants to get the World Cup. I have them advancing over Brazil. On the other side of the bracket between Germany and the Netherlands, I have Germany winning. Germany is going on a phenomenal run this year. They beat the dark horse team, the Netherlands. Germany's going on a run of their own. And then that leaves Spain versus the USA. I would love the United States. Even if the United States just to make it to the quarterfinals would be awesome. I would love for them though to run to the semifinals or the final. As much as I want that to happen, I just don't see it happening. I think at best we make it to the quarterfinals here and we run out of gas against a really good Spain team. Spain beats us and advances to the semifinals, and that leaves the four teams in any of these matchups in the World and final would be amazing. Germany versus Spain and England versus Argentina in the semis. I have Germany beating Spain to advance to the final and England beating Argentina to advance to the final, with a great matchup between Germany and England. Um, and I have England coming out on top 3-2 in this game. I have England winning the World Cup for the first time since the 1960s. I want to say, was it 66? The time was that the year that England won it? I want to say 66 was the year England won it. I know it was sometime in the 60s. First World Cup championship for England since the 1960s. Their second ever. This would be an awesome story, and they would be doing it on American soil on the 250th anniversary of United States independence. Part of the reason that made me want to pick them, I think it's just somewhat destiny for them to win here, and Germany being the other team in the final. Both of these countries, in some ways, rivals of the U.S. I have England winning the World Cup final. That is my prediction. That is who I think is going to win it. Let me know your thoughts down below. Who do you think is going to win the World Cup? Is it going to be Germany, England, Spain, Argentina? Who do you think is going to win? How far do you think the USA goes? And let me know your own picks down below. Who do you think is going to win each group? And I guess I will also say I'll have Harry Kane as player of the tournament. Let me know who you think it's going to be that for you as well. That's all I have for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.